Hi everyone, welcome to my channel CADiologist. In today's exercise, we will draw a light bulb using the basic tools from Draw and Modify panels that I spoke about before in detail through tutorials 1 to 6 of this course. As they say, time is money. That's why I left you guys timestamps in the video timeline so you can skip to the most relevant part for you. I would really appreciate it if you watch the whole way through. Before you continue with this exercise, I want you to click on the subscription button and ring the notification bell to receive my latest. As I just said, in this video, we will draw and dimension together a light bulb. When you open AutoCAD, click on Start Drawing from the interface. If the grid is activated, turn it off from the status bar or use F7 key to turn it on and off. Type units in the command line and make sure drawing units type is decimal, precision is 0.0, draw units is millimeter. Type LA to open Layer Properties Manager and create a layer named Light Bulb. Create another layer for dimensioning. Change the dimension layer color to gray number 8. And line weight to 0.00. Double-click the light bulb layer to set it as the current layer. Then close Layer Properties Manager. Make sure Ortho Mode is activated. Click on this little arrow of OSNAP and check Endpoint, Midpoint, Center, Quadrant, Intersection and Perpendicular modes. Before you start drawing, be sure to save the file and keep doing that from time to time to avoid losing your drawing and effort by mistake. If you are saving for the first time, click on Save from the Quick Access toolbar, choose the file location, and type the name. Then click on Save. Click on the Application button. Click on Options, go to Open and Save tab. In the File Safety Precautions, make sure Automatic Save is checked and at every 10 minutes. Moreover, you can click on Ctrl+S to save your progress anytime you want. Activate Circle command from the Draw panel. Specify the center point somewhere here and draw a 40 mm radius circle. Click on the rectangle tool from Draw panel. Specify the first corner at the circle center point. Select Dimensions option in the command line. Specify the length 35 mm and the width 60 mm. Click on the side to specify the opposite corner. Then move it left 17.5 mm. Note that sometimes you have to place the cursor over the circle boundary in order to see the center point mark, so you can snap it either for drawing or dimensioning. Activate Circle command through the shortcut C. Choose the TTR option in the command line. Specify the first point tangent to this circle and the second point tangent to the rectangle. Then type 20 for the radius. Select the circle, click on the Mirror tool from Modify panel. Specify first point of mirror line at this midpoint mark and the second point somewhere along this path. Click on Space to end the command. Activate Trim tool from Modify panel. If you click on Space, AutoCAD will assume all objects in the drawing area selected. Then follow me trimming the parts we don't want. Select the whole object and type J to join all segments into one. Draw a 35 by 30 mm rectangle somewhere here. and move it from this midpoint mark. Click and hold the Shift key along with the mouse right button and select From. Click on this midpoint mark and move the cursor 5 mm downward. Connect both parts by polylines. Activate dynamic input from the status bar and draw another rectangle from this endpoint mark 30 by 5 mm and copy it downward 5 mm. Select this rectangle, snap this point or vertex and move the cursor 5 mm left. Do the same for the opposite side. Draw a 15 by 12 mm rectangle somewhere here and another rectangle 12 by 3 mm. Move them both to this middle. Draw a rectangle from this midpoint mark 25 by 6 mm and move it 3 mm left. Copy this rectangle from here to here and click on F12 key to turn off dynamic input. Window select these two rectangles, then move the corner points inward 2.5 mm. Do the same for this rectangle, but the movement will be 2 mm. Draw a 3 mm diameter circle somewhere here. Copy it left 30 mm. Draw a rectangle from this quadrant mark to this quadrant mark. Activate the trim tool using the shortcut TR. Click on space again, then trim all the inner parts. Select this object and type J to join all segments into one. Make a copy to anywhere here, then move it from this mark to place it 4 mm downward from this midpoint mark. Activate Geometric Center mode from the status bar. Select this object and click on Rotate from Modify panel. Specify the base point at this geometric center mark, then type 10 degrees for the rotation angle. Select this object and click on Array from Modify panel. Change number of columns to 1 and number of rows to 6. Specify the distance between rows -4. Draw a 1 mm radius circle at this center point mark. Activate X-line tool. Specify the first point tangent to this circle and the second point tangent to this circle. Then mirror it around these points. Select both X-lines and trim this part. Type BO for boundary creation and pick the internal point somewhere here. Hit space to end the command. Then delete all parts we need no more. Rotate this object 10 degrees and move it from this mark to place it 4 mm from this mark. Activate trim command, click on space again, then trim the lines in between these objects. Click on this little arrow of polar tracking and select polar path increment to be by 15 degrees. Draw two vertical X lines here. Draw an X line from this intersection mark and through that 75-degree path. Copy the X-line from this point to this point. Select them both and mirror about this midpoint. Draw a horizontal X-line at this circle center point. Activate the Trim tool through the shortcut TR. Click on Space again and follow me trimming the parts we don't want. Then select these lines and delete them. Activate Circle command, choose the 3P option, specify the first point here, the second point here, and the third point 16 mm in this direction. Select these two lines and trim this part of the circle. I will use the 3P option of Circle command again between these two lines. But the third point will be 20 mm in this direction. Select these lines and trim this part of the circle. Mirror this arc to the opposite side around this middle path. Cross-select these arcs and lines and type J to join all segments into one. Now type HA to activate the hatch command. Choose a pattern from the list, gradient cylinder. Change this color to white or black and this one to gray number 9. And make sure Select Objects option is selected. Then window select the base of the light bulb. Dimensioning. Click on Ctrl+1 to open Properties palette and change the layer to Dim for dimensioning. Type D and hit space to open Dimension Style Manager. Click on New and type Dim01. Then continue. In the Lines tab, make sure baseline spacing is 3.75. Extend beyond dimension line 1.25. Offset from original 1. In the Symbols and Arrows tab, change arrow size to 1.8. Make sure dimension prick size is 3.75. And go to Text tab. Change text height to 2. In the Text Placement field, make sure vertical is set to above and horizontal is set to centered. Change offset from dimension line to 1. In the Text Alignment field, check Aligned with Dimension Line. In the Fit tab, make sure Overall Scale is selected and the value is 1. In the Primary Units, set the precision of linear dimensions to 0.0 and angular dimension to 0. Then click on OK. Turn Ortho Mode back on through F8 key. Go to Annotate tab and click on Linear. Measure the distance from here to here. Place the cursor over this mark and move it slowly downward. You should see a vertical path if Object Snap Tracking is on. Type 6 to place the dimension. Of course, you could place the dimension anywhere you want. I will repeat the same command several times to measure the bulb base. Remember, you could click on Space button every time to reactivate linear dimensions or use the shortcut DLI. Type DIMC for Dimension Continue and follow me dimensioning this site. Activate linear dimension again and measure the inner parts of the bulb. Select these dimensions and go to Properties palette. In the text field, change horizontal position of the text to be over the second extension. Select radius from the dimension list in order to measure all circles and arcs of the light bulb. Use the space button to repeat the command or the shortcut DIMR. Choose diameter from the list and measure this circle. Now we need to prepare the sheet to print the drawing. Go to Layout Sheet, select the existing viewport and delete it. Right-click Layout 1 and rename it to Exercise 12. Right-click Exercise 12 and go to Page Setup Manager, where we can set the sheet size, orientation, quality, and many other things. Click on Modify, change the printer name to DWG to PDF. Make sure the paper size isofull pleat A4 is selected. Check scale line weights and plot transparency. And make sure landscape orientation is selected. Then click on OK and close. Type viewport and hit space. Choose single and click OK. The command line is asking to specify the first corner or just click on space for fit. If you go to Layer Properties Manager, you could see a layer created automatically and named div points. It was generated when the first dimension was created in the drawing. This layer is unprintable and stores information about definition points of dimensions. It's usually used for the viewports and for any detail in the drawing you don't want to print. So select the viewport and go to Properties, then change the layer to div points. Now, to print the drawing, we need to insert the title block we created together in Tutorial 8 of this course. Remember, title block is a template for the sheet you want to print, and it includes important information to identify the drawing. So, I will open Exercise 1 that we did in Tutorial 8 and copy the title block from there. Select the title block and its content. Type CO and select Copy Base. Specify the base point as mentioned in the command line. Click on this mark and go to Exercise 12. Click on Ctrl+V for Paste command and place the title block at this endpoint mark. Select the viewport and adjust the boundaries to be inside the title block. Click on Scale from the status bar and check 1:1. Double-click inside the viewport. Then click and hold the mouse scroll wheel to adjust the drawing location. If the scale is changed while moving, you could simply adjust it back as we did before. Click on the lock sign to lock the viewport and prevent any changes for the scale. If the title block includes a logo and for some reason the logo disappears when you copy the title block from one drawing to another, we can help AutoCAD to locate the logo and resolve this issue by using the xref command. This is my logo and the status shows that it's not found. Click it twice, locate your logo and click on Open. Change the drawing title to Tutorial 19, Exercise 12. Change the scale to 1:1. Change the date and the drawing number to YT for YouTube, CAD for AutoCAD, TT19 for tutorial number 19, EX for exercise, 012 for the exercise number. Click on Ctrl+P to open plot setting. If this window pops up, just click on Escape button. Click on Preview to check out the drawing before making the printout. Click on Print, choose a folder, type the file name, and click on Save. In this tutorial, you practiced many tools from the Draw and Modify panels through drawing a light bulb. I executed these commands from the ribbon as well as using the shortcut so you guys can be aware of the tool's location on the interface. If you have doubts about any command, you can always go back to the previous tutorials, specifically tutorials 1 to 6, to learn more about it. And you can use the timestamps in the video's description to skip around to any chapter or subject you want to revise. Alright, don't let this video end without subscribing to the channel and ring that notification bell to receive more materials.